Disney's Snow White, as you can see, Jay, 1.6 out of 10 on the old IMDb. One of the worst reviewed movies of all time by the audience. The audience score over on Rotten Tomatoes, the all audience score at least, is quite similar to that. And, after the opening weekend, when the mainstream media was coping, they were shilling, they were spinning, they were doing everything they could to tell you, hey, guys, look, it's going to be great. Don't listen to the haters. Well, it came out and it flopped in its opening weekend. And the trades quickly had to reverse course. We saw Disney put out a big hit piece, essentially, on Rachel Zegler, putting a lot of the blame on her for the way that this movie's performing. Would the second weekend be any better? Spoiler alert, no. Weekend 2 delivers even more box office humiliation for Disney's Snow White. And yes, box office, Working Man with 15 million plus opening puts Snow White to sleep and sends Jenna Ortega's Unicorn out to pasture. Fitting a lot of puns within that opening one. But yes, Working Man scared Disney's Snow White into second place at the box office, 15.2 million to 14.2 million. You can see right here, despite having 1,000 fewer theaters and obviously a movie with a fraction of the budget of something like Snow White, Working Man takes first place. Disney drops to second with Snow White. And you can see, Jay, a 66% drop. Is that pretty bad? I think it's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
And in fact, when you look at everything in totality, not only domestically, is this the biggest live action drop off they've ever had second weekend, worse than Dumbo, worse than any of these other flops, but also globally, it looks very bad. Snow White finally crossed the 100 million mark at the global box office after grossing 22 million on second weekend overseas, a harsh 51% drop from the opening. Allied to its 66.8 cum in the US, hits a 143 million global total, a financial disaster with a $250 million production price tag, not even including marketing. That is wrong, and we'll get to that later. Eyeing a $215 to $235 million global run. That's where we are now with this movie, the Marvel's territory. Barely breaking $200 million worldwide are the new projections.
So I am upset because when I first said 320, I was laughed at. You know that, Ryan? People are like, oh, come on, Jay. Now you're being stupid. It's going to at least bypass that. No problem. I said it over and over. And now it looks like I overshot my mark. I shot my load too high, man. Like, what? It's all over the place now.
If this is The Price is Right, you would have fucking gone way over, man.
Yeah, it's over. I can't believe it, man. I was like right there. I thought I had it. I thought I was going to be back. Thought I was going to enjoy my flowers. Like you said, I was going to be like, Jay gets another one right. But no. I can't believe 320 was actually talked about as being too low. Look at that, man. 235. They should have just released it on Disney Plus and be done with it.
They should have not released it and fucking just taken it as a tax write-off, to be honest with you.
Pulled a back, girl.
Yeah, like honestly, because you know what, Jay? This movie is going to lose Disney if these projections stay relatively in line. This movie is going to lose Disney $300 million. And that's at the most like conservative we could possibly imagine. Because again, as we've gone on over and over and over again over the past 2 years or so, despite them saying, $200 million budget, $250 million budget, that's not the case. The budget is easily over $300 million.
Yeah, easy.
Right? To put it in perspective, this wasn't really any new information at all in this article. It was just kind of a reminder from Carolyn Reed at Forbes that by the end of 2023 through December 31st of 2023, right, the latest set of filings show that by December 31st, 2023, the total that they'd spent on Snow White had risen to $270 million. Forcing Disney to admit its filings in the film was forecast to be over the production budget. Reshoots and post-production work have been taking place since then, so the costs are set to increase, though the bulk of the money has been spent. So $270 million. And of course, they're going to get like a 40, maybe $50 million tax write down from the UK with all the money they spent. So let's just say 270 million. 2 different sets of reshoots because they got interrupted by the strike, the post-production work, all of this stuff. There's no way in hell that didn't go up probably another $100 million.
Oh, easy.
Right. But let's be as conservative as we can and say that they only spent $80 million more over the next year plus getting this movie ready. And that they spent $350 million on it and they get a $40 or $50 tax credit. This is like the most conservative estimate we could imagine. Spending $350 million, net spend of $300 million. Okay. Now, what about marketing? Little Mermaid, they spent $150 million marketing it. Could be more for this movie, could be less for this movie. Let's be as kind as possible to Disney, Jay. And let's say they only spent $100 million marketing. Probably more, just like the money they spent on this movie, but conservative. That's $400 million that they have invested so far in Snow White. If this number holds, say it makes $225 million, right? Maybe $100 million domestically, $125 million internationally. They're only going to get back around $100 million from that towards the studio itself, which means they're in the whole $300 million. This is a $300 million loss, effectively guaranteed, and probably more than that for Disney right now. Holy shit.
The other ones that rank up for a loss like that would be Indiana Jones, correct? Didn't that do close to a $300 million loss? For Disney, or will this be like catastrophically worse? And then the Marvels didn't do too well, but I don't know if they lost 300 million.
Marvels did very poorly. I think obviously the production budget for that was way more than it was actually initially reported as well. But this would be potentially more than the Marvels, depending on how much they actually spent whenever we get those tax records.
Right.
Dial of Destiny. I mean, what was the global box office for that, though? It was higher than this.
No, but they spent didn't they advertise as like the most expensive movie ever made? One of the most expensive movies ever made was Dial of Destiny. So they
one
spent
of them,
yeah, they spent a ton of money.
This would rank up there as well when it's all said and done.
The marketing, like the Snow White marketing, is everywhere. It was in the Amtrak station. It was in the airports. It was like in giant billboards in Washington, D.C. It's in Orlando because Disney's right. I did not see that type. Of course, I wasn't traveling. Maybe I just didn't notice. Like for the Little Mermaid, I think the marketing is like a lot bigger because they knew that they had to try to get butts and seats for what's about.
I actually would say so. I think that the Snow White marketing, to me, and it's all anecdotal based on what anyone happens to see at any point, right? It's all anecdotal, but I think that the Snow White marketing, it's obviously been out there a lot, but it's been over a very short period of time. Essentially, we didn't really see this until right after the Oscars. Whereas Little Mermaid, that is when they started their marketing push as well during the Oscars, showing the trailer there and all that stuff. But that movie didn't release until June. So you had an ongoing marketing campaign for Little Mermaid for months and months and months. Whereas Snow White, it really feels like it was kind of very shortened and abbreviated. And also, just to be fair, you didn't have that many events. You had Rachel Zegler by herself at a couple very, very small things in Japan, in Europe, little things. And then Gal went on kind of the tour. But you didn't have the traditional media sit downs and all these interviews and all this stuff that we would typically see for a big marketing tour, which Disney's paying for that too, right? They're paying for the cost of travel. They're paying for all this shit. So I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about the Snow White marketing budget. I feel like it's safe to say it's probably in line with Little Mermaid, right? 150 million, could be less. I've seen some people saying, oh, they spent 200 million. I kind of doubt that. Just because of how crunched it's been. But either way, it's a nightmare.
300 million.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder if studios will take a chance on Rachel Zegler after this. Like if they'll, like I said earlier, I really feel like she'll just be like a theater kid for a little while and just do like theater stuff like she did Romeo and Juliet. She got signed to do another type of Broadway style show in another country. And I just think that's just going to be her. It's just going to be her thing for a little while.
Well,
and then you get these weird, stupid rumors that they're considering her for MCU. Like, you just see that? You're like, come on, man.
I'm telling you, these fucking scoopers, a lot of them are such cock-sucking lying queers, because it's like, hey, wow, 3 weeks, a new Rachel Zegler news cycle fucking happens to explode, and a lot of people are getting views, and these people that cover like Marvel for a living and do scoops for Marvel, and they're all just lies mostly. And they're like, oh, Marvel's considering Rachel Zegler for a role in the MCU. And it's like, obviously that's going to like piss so many people off and get so much interaction. And then, another news cycle goes by. A month later, Rachel Zegler does something else that's in the news. It blows up, and the same person will tweet the same thing. Breaking rumor, MCU looking at Rachel Zegler for a potential Marvel role. It's like, how fucking transparent can you fucking be?
Yeah, that was the Brie Larson's going to be in Star Wars for the past 4 years. Remember that? Like, they're considering Brie Larson to play Mara Jade. They're considering Brie Larson for this. They're considering Brie Larson. Brie Larson didn't even get announced in that Marvel chair table or whatever. I almost said like round table, the chair stream. Brie Larson didn't even get mentioned in that. But
a lot of people
that was going around forever. It's now that people get paid to tweet, they're gonna say something.
It's really annoying to me.
Yo, I got paid from Twitter, man. Like the other day, I got a whopping $11.06.
I'm not even monetized on Twitter.
Ah,
I don't tweet enough to be monetized. So
$11, man.
And I think you bring up a good point, Jay. Is there any of these studios that are going to want to like take a chance on Rachel Zegler after this disaster? Obviously, Disney not very happy with the way all these things played out. We saw them obviously kind of try to throw her under the bus a lot. Disney deserves a lot of the fucking blame for this, for what they decided to do. They decided to cast her. They decided to brag about her not being Snow White and instead being Snow Latina. They decided to brag about how they were changing this for the modern era. They decided to write this piece of shit. They decided to CGI dwarfs. All that's Disney's doing. Rachel Zegler certainly deserves a lot of the blame for how this movie sank before it ever had a chance to swim, though, when you look at what she said. But there's one person who very much at least supports Rachel Zegler in the entertainment industry. One big Disney star, in fact, the star of their next Star Wars movie to be released in theaters, the star of Fantastic Four set to be released this summer, and one of the stars of the next Avengers saga. And that is, of course, Pedro Pascal.
Hey.
Pedro Pascal, who's no fucking stranger to making controversial posts and to calling half of the country Nazis, quite literally. He decides that with all this stuff, with Disney clearly being unhappy after losing $300 million on Snow White, and this being a complete and total colossal disaster, Pedro Pascal, a big-time Disney star, decides to put his voice behind Rachel Zegler. Pedro Pascal calls Rachel Zegler an icon as he shows support amid Snow White backlash. And yeah, here it is from Pascal is Punk at Rachel Zegler, icon.
Icon
Speak English. Icon from Pedro Pascal. Right? Now, a lot of support for a fellow Disney star who's going through some public controversy. Man, where was this energy a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Where was this energy, Pedro? You cocksucking bitch.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal has said way more fucking offensive, and I don't really care about that, but offensive by all this fucking terminology out there. He's said way more controversial things than Gina Carano said.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And Rachel Zegler has said some hot button controversial things, but she attached it to the promotion of her fucking movie, which was a big deal. They do share, I think, the same opinions about what's going on over in the Middle East. Maybe that's why he's doing this. But this is from, I know it's hard to remember, Jay, but this is from 5 years ago. Mandalorian's Pedro Pascal calls fans Nazis.
Imagine my shock.
Losers in 1865, losers in 1945, losers in 2020.
Yeah.
Right? He called half this country Nazis. That's
Probably more than half, honestly.
I'm rounding.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay?
I know what you mean.
I'm rounding. He called half this country fucking Nazis. That's what Pedro Pascal did. Right? And of course, this is funny. Pedro Pascal, him. This is back when he used Twitter. Hashtag This Is America. Germany 1944. America 2018. Now, the most ironic thing about this, especially considering his and Rachel's political positions on what's going on over in the Middle East, is this is not a picture from America. This is a picture of Palestinian children, not like in a fucking like prison or anything. They're waiting at a soup kitchen. They're waiting in line.
I remember that.
Pedro Pascal is one of the dumbest fucks in the world. And you know, it sucks because there's a couple roles. There's some things I hate Pedro Pascal in. There's some things I think he's very good in, actually. But holy shit, he's one of the most insufferable people. And he's got all this energy right now. As Disney's pissed off at this person, he's got all this energy to come out in support of her amidst all this backlash while he's set to star in multiple Disney movies coming out. Yet didn't have that same energy a couple years ago when his co-star got canceled and fired for fucking nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel did come out and very clearly it was like, I hope Trump supporters don't find peace. F Donald Trump. I mean, like, there was no, she wasn't like trying to throw shade or mixed message. She literally just came out and was like, I hope none of you guys have peace whatsoever. So, yeah, but she wasn't fired. Allegedly, she got a social media director that was flown in to help Rachel not say bad things on the internet. It's probably, if that's true, that's probably when like she quit tweeting. It's when Disney sent that person over. So I don't know.
One of the interesting parts of this actually is the Gina Carano factor. And the idea that because Gina is involved in this lawsuit with Disney because of what they did and what they did over her, like inherently her political opinions, right?
Yes.
There are reports that they were a little more hesitant to try to rein her in because of that kind of ongoing litigation. I do think there's a massive difference between, you know, somebody speaking their mind about their politics online versus connected it inherently to the promotion of your film, right? And that's what Rachel did, right? I again, a lot of these people are going to have different political opinions than me. Some of them might have similar ones. Whatever, don't really fucking care. It's when you're one, vilifying half the country and telling them don't go to my fucking movie. And two, it's when you're attaching your political opinions, very divisive political opinions, and ones that get people up in arms over everything, attached to the promotion of your fucking film that you're getting paid millions of dollars to promote and be in. That's when it does become an issue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
I just think all this just keeps helping the lawsuit. So every little thing, which is supposed to go to court in June or July of this year. So right around the corner.
Is it supposed to go to court then, or is it supposed to be start the discovery process?
Maybe that's what it is. The discovery starts. Something like that was like supposed to start in June or July. So yeah, something major. They were trying to get it thrown out multiple times.
Didn't work.
Judge denied it. So we're just moving forward now, waiting for that date. So I just think all these things just help Gina's lawsuit, honestly. But the fact that insider came out and was just like, yeah, we don't want another lawsuit on our hands from another actor, is like, you wonder if that's like them saying, we know we're going to lose to Gina. We don't want to lose another one, but who knows?
Even if they don't lose, it's just, it's such bad PR for them for years. Yeah. You know what I mean? So even if at the end they don't lose that case or whatever happens, or it goes away, whatever might happen with it, it has still been a really bad look for them, and it's been in the news cycle for years at this point. So, and it does not surprise me that Pedro Pascal supports Rachel Zegler.
No, not at all.
The interesting part of it, however, is that Disney's obviously very upset with her, and I think rightly so. Not that this movie ever would have been a success, but she tanked it from the beginning.
Yeah, and then of course, and then she's going to be in several Disney productions coming up. So
yes, and then the star of your Star Wars movie and your big summer blockbuster, right?
Yeah.
Both of these. Same dude, Pedro Pascal. He just fucking publicly threw his support behind her.
Yep.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Birds of a feather, man.
They flock together.